Good morning, not just to the world, but to the person who needs to hear it the most, you. Every morning before the world rushes in, before the demands, the emails, the notifications, take a moment to remind yourself of 7 powerful truths. Because how you start your day determines how you live it. First, I am in control. Not of everything, but of how I respond, how I think, how I choose to move forward. I am not a victim of circumstance. I am the author of my own story. Second, every challenge makes me stronger. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. The struggles I face today are shaping the strength I need for tomorrow. Third, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be better than yesterday. Perfection is a mirage. Progress is real. If I can move forward, even just a little, I am winning. Fourth, I have a purpose. I am not just here to exist. I am here to contribute, to create, to inspire. My work, my words, my actions, they matter. Fifth, I am grateful. Not for everything being easy, but for the opportunities, for the people in my life, for the chance to try again today. Gratitude is fuel. Sixth, I am capable. Fear may whisper otherwise, but fear is a liar. I have overcome challenges before, and I will overcome them again. And seventh, I am worthy. Not because of what I achieve, but because of who I am. I don't need permission to believe in myself. So say these lines not just today, but every morning. Because when you start your day speaking truth to yourself, the world starts to listen. Every morning, before the world has a chance to shape your thoughts, before social media, emails, and the weight of responsibility start pulling you in different directions, remind yourself of something powerful. I am in control. Not of everything, because life is unpredictable. Plans fall apart. Unexpected challenges arise. People will disappoint you. But even in the face of uncertainty, one thing remains entirely within your grasp: how you choose to respond. Too often we wake up and immediately surrender our power. We check our phones and let notifications dictate our mood. We remember yesterday's failures and let them define today. We step out of bed and allow the world to tell us how to feel, how to think, and what to believe about ourselves. But what if, before any of that, you took a moment to remind yourself that you are not just a passive participant in your life, you are the one steering the ship? The truth is, your mind is the first battleground of the day. The conversations you have with yourself in the morning set the tone for everything that follows. If you tell yourself that today is going to be stressful, overwhelming, or full of problems, your brain will find every possible reason to prove you right. If you tell yourself you're not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, you will walk through your day carrying that weight, seeing the world through the lens of doubt. But if instead you decide before anything else that you are in control, your entire outlook changes. Imagine waking up and saying, no matter what happens today, I get to choose my response. I get to decide how I will show up. I get to lead my own mind rather than letting the world lead it for me. That single decision can transform everything. Because control isn't about changing the external world, it's about mastering the internal one. We don't control the economy, but we control how we adapt. We don't control what people think of us, but we control how we see ourselves. We don't control every event that comes our way, but we control the meaning we assign to it. Think about the most successful, resilient, and inspiring people you know. They aren't the ones who had an easy path. They aren't the ones who never faced setbacks or failures. They are the ones who, no matter what happened, refused to give up their power. They didn't let rejection define them. They didn't let negativity consume them. They took ownership of their mindset, their actions, and their growth. This isn't just about motivation, it's about biology. Your brain is wired to protect you, to avoid discomfort, to cling to familiar patterns. That means if you don't actively take control of your thoughts, your brain will default to fear, doubt, and hesitation. But here's the good news: the mind is trainable. Just like a muscle, the more you practice control over your thoughts, the stronger that ability becomes. It starts with awareness. Every morning before you let external influences take over, pause. Recognize that your first thoughts of the day will guide the rest of it. If you catch yourself thinking negatively, stop. Redirect. Speak the truth: I am in control. Say it out loud if you have to. Because when you reinforce that belief, your brain starts looking for ways to make it real. Then, take action. Start small. Maybe today, control means choosing patience in traffic instead of frustration. Maybe it means choosing courage in a difficult conversation instead of avoidance. Maybe it means deciding that no matter what happens, you will not let one setback define your entire day. Because here's the thing: control doesn't mean everything will go perfectly. It doesn't mean life will suddenly be easy. What it means is that no matter what happens, you are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You get to decide what happens next. And when you wake up every morning and remind yourself of that truth, you stop waiting for the world to change, for the perfect opportunity for someone else to tell you it's your time. You take ownership. You lead yourself first. And when you do that, you step into a completely different kind of day one, where you don't just react to life, but create it. Every day brings its own set of challenges. Some are small, a traffic jam, a difficult email, an unexpected delay. Others shake us to our core failures, losses, disappointments that make us question everything. It's easy to let these moments define our day, to see them as roadblocks that hold us back. But what if instead we saw them as something else? What if every morning before the world tells us how hard things will be, we tell ourselves, every challenge makes me stronger? The reality is, growth doesn't happen in comfort. Strength isn't built in the absence of struggle. The most resilient people in the world, the ones who seem unshakable in the face of adversity, are not that way because life was easy for them. They are that way because they learned to reframe challenges not as setbacks, but as stepping stones. They didn't avoid difficulty, they used it. They understood that struggle is not the enemy, stagnation is. Think about the strongest version of yourself. The person you want to be, more confident, more capable, more fearless. That version of you doesn't come from avoiding hardship, it comes from walking through it. Every difficult conversation you face, every fail you recover from, every uncomfortable moment you push through, it's all shaping you. Strength isn't given, it's earned. And it's earned in the moments when giving up would be easier, but you choose to keep going. The problem is, most people only see the immediate pain of a challenge, not the long-term benefit. They see the rejection, but not the resilience it builds. They see the failure, but not the lessons it teaches. They see the discomfort, but not the growth happening beneath the surface. But when you start your day reminding yourself that every challenge makes you stronger, you shift your perspective. When you stop seeing obstacles as barriers and start seeing them as teachers, imagine waking up and knowing that no matter what happens today, it's making you better. That difficult conversation, it's teaching you courage. That setback, it's forcing you to adapt, to think differently, to become more creative. That moment of doubt, it's giving you an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think. When you adopt this mindset, challenges stop being things that slow you down and start being the very things that push you forward. The greatest achievements in history were born from adversity. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every story of success you admire came from someone who refused to let challenges break them. They faced rejection, they faced failure, they faced moments where everything felt impossible, but they kept going. And every time they pushed through, they became stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable. Your own life is no different. Think back to a time when you struggled but came out stronger. A time when you faced something difficult, but looking back, you realize it shaped you into the person you are today. That moment wasn't easy, but it made you who you are. And today, right now, whatever challenge you are facing is doing the same thing. It's not about pretending challenges aren't hard. It's not about denying that some days feel overwhelming. It's about knowing that even in those moments, something powerful is happening. You are growing. You are building endurance. You are becoming the version of yourself that can handle even bigger things in the future. So tomorrow morning, when you wake up, remind yourself, every challenge makes me stronger. Say it before the day begins, before the difficulties arrive, because when you do, you stop dreading the hard things and you start realizing they are the very things shaping you into the person you're meant to be. Perfection is an illusion. It's the impossible standard that keeps people stuck, waiting for the right moment, the right conditions, the perfect plan before they take action. But the truth is, perfection is not what leads to success. Progress is. Every morning before the weight of expectation settles in, remind yourself, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be better than yesterday. Too many people never start because they're afraid of getting it wrong. They hesitate to launch the business, to write the book, to take the leap because they need to have everything figured out first. But if you wait until you're perfect, you'll wait forever. The people who accomplish great things aren't the ones who got everything right from the start. They're the ones who were willing to start before they were ready, to take imperfect action, to embrace mistakes as part of the journey. Think about a child learning to walk. They don't analyze every step, afraid to fall. They stumble, they fall, they get back up. And each time they get stronger. They don't aim for perfection, they aim for progress. Somewhere along the way, as we grow older, we forget that simple truth. We start believing that mistakes mean failure, that falling short means we aren't good enough. But in reality, every mistake is just proof that we are in motion, that we are growing. Imagine waking up each day, not burdened by the pressure to be perfect, but motivated by the idea of simply improving. Maybe today, that means pushing yourself just a little harder than yesterday. Maybe it means learning from a mistake instead of letting it define you. Maybe it means taking action. Even if it's messy, even if it's not flawless, because movement forward is always better than standing still. The most successful people in the world did not achieve their dreams because they were perfect. They achieved them because they refused to let imperfection stop them. They understood that progress compounds, that small steps taken consistently lead to massive change. If you focus on getting just 1% better each day, over time that effort adds up in ways that perfection never could. Look at any great innovation, any breakthrough, any success story, and you'll see a pattern: failure, adjustment, persistence. There's no straight path to greatness. There are wrong turns, setbacks, moments of doubt. But the people who rise above are the ones who keep going, who don't let imperfection paralyze them. They don't wait for the perfect plan. They take action with the best plan they have right now. It's easy to look at others and think they have it all figured out. But if you dig deeper, you'll find that every successful person started as a beginner. They weren't perfect. They were just willing to take the first step. They were willing to look foolish, to learn publicly, to embrace discomfort. That's what made them great, not flawless execution, but relentless progress. The same applies to you. If you make today just a little better than yesterday, you win. If you learn one lesson, improve one habit, take one small action, you are moving forward. And forward is the only direction that matters. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, don't aim for perfection. Aim for growth. Tell yourself, I don't have to be perfect, I just have to be better than yesterday. And then go do exactly that. Every morning, before the world places expectations on you, before deadlines and distractions pull you in different directions, take a moment to remind yourself of something that too many people forget. I have a purpose. It's easy to get caught up in routine, wake up, go to work, go through the motions, without stopping to ask why it all matters. But the truth is, you are not here by accident. Your life, your work, your words, and your actions all have meaning. And when you start each day with that awareness, you show up differently. Most people drift through life reacting to whatever comes their way, letting circumstances dictate their path. But those who make a difference, those who live with impact, are the ones who wake up with intention. They remind themselves daily that what they do, no matter how big or small, has the power to influence others. They understand that purpose isn't found, it's created. It's something you build piece by piece through the choices you make every single day. The problem is, too many people believe that purpose has to be something grand, something that changes the world overnight. But that's not how purpose works. Purpose isn't just for those who cure diseases, lead nations, or make headlines. It's for everyone. It's in the way you treat the people around you. It's in the way you show up, the way you contribute, the way you put effort into whatever you do. Purpose is found in the small, consistent actions that over time create a meaningful life. Think about the people who have impacted you the most. Maybe it was a teacher who believed in you when no one else did. Maybe it was a mentor who pushed you to see your potential. Maybe it was a friend who showed up in a moment when you needed them the most. They may not have had a grand mission statement. They may not have realized in that moment that they were shaping your life, but they were. Because purpose isn't always loud. It's often found in the quiet moments, in the choices that seem ordinary but carry extraordinary weight. When you wake up and remind yourself, I have a purpose, you stop looking at your life as something to just get through. You start seeing it as something to contribute to. You approach your work differently, not as something you have to do, but as something that allows you to make an impact, no matter how small. You show up for people differently, not as someone just passing through, but as someone who has the power to make someone else's day better. The mistake people make is waiting for clarity, waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting to feel ready. But purpose isn't something you wait for, it's something you live. And the more you choose to show up with purpose, the more it reveals itself to you. The more you invest in what you do, the more meaningful it becomes. The more you lean into your strengths and passions, the more you create the impact you were meant to have. The world doesn't need more people who are simply existing. It needs more people who wake up and decide every single day to live with purpose, to approach life with the understanding that their actions matter, that their work, their words, their presence can change someone else's life, even if they never realize it. So tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, remind yourself, I have a purpose, say it, believe it, and then go live it. Because the greatest impact you will ever have isn't in some distant future, it's in the choices you make today. Every morning, before you get lost in the rush of the day, before you think about what's missing or what went wrong yesterday, take a moment to remind yourself, I am grateful. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's about shifting your focus, training your mind to see what's right instead of what's wrong. It's easy to get caught in the habit of noticing problems. What you don't have, what didn't go your way, what still isn't perfect. But when you wake up and choose gratitude first, you start the day with a completely different energy. You stop chasing happiness as if it's something in the future and realize it's something you can create in this moment. Most people wait for something big to happen before they allow themselves to feel grateful. They think, I'll be grateful when I get the promotion, or I'll be happy when I have more money, when my situation improves, when everything falls into place. But that kind of thinking keeps happiness just out of reach, always tied to something external. And the problem with that, there will always be another goal, another challenge, another reason to put happiness on hold. But what if instead you decided that gratitude isn't something you wait for, it's something you practice? What if before the stress, before the distractions, before the noise of the world pulls you in, you take a moment to remind yourself of what's already good? Not because everything is perfect, but because even in the middle of imperfection, there is something worth appreciating. Think about it. You woke up today. That alone is a gift. You have another chance to improve, to love, to learn, to create, to impact. How many people wish they had just one more day, one more opportunity to do what you have right now, the things you take for granted, your health, your abilities, the people in your life, someone else is praying for. And when you start your day remembering that, your perspective changes. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring problems. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it's not. What it means is refusing to let what's missing blind you to what's present. It means choosing to see the opportunities instead of the obstacles, to focus on what's possible instead of what's lacking. It's about realizing that even on the hardest days, there is something to be thankful for. And gratitude isn't just a mindset, it's a practice. It's something you build like a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets. And when you start your day with gratitude, you train your brain to look for more things to appreciate throughout the day. It's not magic, it's science. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system, and it works like a filter, helping you focus on what you tell it is important. If you tell your brain to look for problems, it will find them. If you tell it to look for reasons to be grateful, it will find those instead. Successful, fulfilled people aren't the ones with the easiest lives. They're the ones who have trained themselves to see the good no matter the circumstances. They've learned that gratitude isn't a reaction, it's a choice. And that choice changes everything. Imagine walking into your day with gratitude first. Instead of thinking about what you don't have, you focus on what you do. Instead of complaining about the work ahead, you feel grateful for the opportunity to grow. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you appreciate the lessons it taught you. That shift in perspective doesn't just make you feel better, it makes you strong. It makes you more resilient. It allows you to move through challenges with a sense of purpose instead of frustration. Gratitude fuels growth. It turns obstacles into opportunities. It helps you see that even the setbacks have value. And when you remind yourself of that every morning, you stop waiting for life to be perfect before you appreciate it. You start appreciating it now. So tomorrow, before you do anything else, say it. I am grateful, not because everything is easy, but because even in the struggle, there is something worth appreciating. Say it, believe it, and carry that perspective with you, because when you do, you won't just have a better day, you'll build a better life.